Welcome, world, to Life, Love, and Wellness Global, a worldwide wellness movement. I am Reverend Sandy Rogers, and as the creator of this historic event, it is my pleasure to welcome you. We come together to bring you this historic event. We have practitioners, holistic practitioners, we have medical doctors, we have spiritual individuals. This event is so lovingly dedicated to my mother, Mrs. Barbara Dean Brown. And my mother taught me like 40 plus years ago about the importance and the meaning behind herbs. And she would always say, we don't know what they putting in those pills, so you better not, get hooked on prescription drugs. And so we listened to Mom, but not all of us paid attention. My sister, bless her heart, was diagnosed recently thereafter with asthma, and she was prescribed prednisone, which is a very powerful steroid. And my sister actually got hooked on steroids, like someone out on the street kind of hooked, like on heroin or crack or something like that. And so my mom and my sister are both on the other side, living in the other dimension, but they're upholding me, and this is dedicated to their memory. So we don't want to come and make you change your mind about what you're doing. We just want to provide information to you, something different, so that you have options to choose from, so that you're not stuck. Because the environment that we now live in, the fast foods, the toxins in the air that we breathe and in the water that we drink, and the processed foods, and all of that is causing havoc on this precious body temple. So God created our bodies to heal themselves, but they can only heal themselves when they're fed and they're nourished and they're stress-free. And so the 60 or so or more experts that we have are bringing you this worldwide wellness movement in an attempt to share their testimonies and their information with you. So we have from age 14 on up. I don't even know what the oldest age is. I think 88 or something. So you see, that's a wide range of knowledge that we're bringing you. And so we hope that you come and that you get all the knowledge that you need to affect a positive change on your life, and share this with others. It's free, it's online, and so we're just so thankful that you decided to be a part of our listening community, the viewing community, and we certainly appreciate you for giving us your time of day and your energy and your efforts to being with us and to being a part of this historic event. We have pulled together people of color for you, by you, right? So we want to make sure that you understand that we too, melanated people with color, can enjoy, practice, and participate in some of these modalities that others have been doing for centuries, and that is pretty new to our community. So we talk about Qigong, we talk about meditation, yoga, spiritual work from a different perspective than religion. So we talk about the spirituality aspect. We talk about abuse in the families. We talk about all kinds of subjects because we know that in our communities there are layers and layers and layers and layers of stuff that we never talk about that's causing a negative effect on our bodies and its healing process. So we address it, whatever it is, and we hope that you will benefit from the many experts that we have, and that you walk away with lots of knowledge and lots of new information, and that you become fully empowered to share information with others. So thank you for being with us. We love you and we bless you, and we look forward to doing this again. But thanks for being here with the first one. We appreciate you.
Love and wellness. Life, love and wellness.
And so today we have a young person, Elizabeth Testamark, who has a wonderful, wonderful story. We wanted to make sure that our young people are included in this documentary because their life stories and their life experiences are important. So, Elizabeth, would you like to tell the world who you are, please?
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Elizabeth Testamark, and I'm a senior at Collinsville High School, which is in Lawrenceville, Georgia. But my story began when I was 5 years old. At that time, my sister, my brother, and I, we all lived in Miami, Florida with our mom and our dad, but our mom passed away when I was only 5 years old. She had a stroke, and she also had brain tumors. So after her death, that led my brother to go and live with my auntie, and my sister and I to go live with our grandma. And at that time, my sister and I soon came to find out that our grandma was really abusive. And out of everyone in the household, her anger, her frustration, her rage, her pain, everything seemed to be targeted towards me the most. So I would take that and take it to school with me at a really young age and try to find validation in guys at a really young age, or fight all the time, or have attitude all the time. But as you can tell, I'm not the same person. But in 2012, my grandma and I got into a really huge confrontation, which led us, my sister and I, to move all the way to Georgia, where we're filming the documentary. And now we live with our godmom, who's taking care of us, and she actually took in my brother, my sister, and all of us. And I'm actually graduating this year, and I'm going to the College of Worcester in Ohio. But going from home to home and just different schools, it's been hard, especially on a teenage girl, because you're confused, you don't have stability, you don't know what to do or how to do it, and you don't really want to ask for help because you're ashamed of what people would think, because you never had that opportunity for you. But I've just learned to trust the process through it all. The number one thing that helped me focus on my goals in life is I went to a church retreat in 2015, and that's where I dedicated my life to Christ. And ever since then, it hasn't been the easiest thing, because you're still a teen, you have different influences around you, but it's been the best thing because I have a sense of direction and where I'm going in life. And I can honestly say that I can happily say that I'm graduating, I'm moving on to the next level. And what I plan on doing once I graduate school is I'm planning on majoring in music therapy. And my main focus, one of the biggest challenges with the music therapy field concerning kids with autism, or the reason why I wanted to specialize with kids with autism, is because if you see an autistic kid, especially in high school, everyone tends to avoid them, and no one talks to them or don't try to seek to understand, but just come up with their own perception of who they think they are. And one reason why I decided to do music therapy is because in high school I used to run track, and before I went to track practice, I would sit in the front of the school and watch all the buses leave. And as the buses leave, the autistic kids will come out, and they'll be the last ones on the bus. And I just found the joy in my heart, to be with them and work with them. And I also did a music therapy class one time, and it was the best thing ever, because we didn't use actual instruments, we used cups, plates, toys, and just to see the joy from the kids, and also to see how them using their instruments, helping them to cope with their disabilities, was a really cool thing. And so on my journey to college, since this will be my first year starting in August, I'll be far from where I'm trying to go, but I know that the community around me will be helpful and supportive. And I can also say that I have a gift in music, so I sing in my church, and I also sing just for fun. And I just know that the ability to use my voice, it will influence and encourage others to do, be the best that they can be, and just be who they're called to be.
So how has the abusive situation with your grandmother, how did it impact your life in the beginning? Did it leave you feeling confused as to why she was being mean to you, or?
So it's really crazy how I remember it, but I remember the beginning of everything. So for a while, she because she used to travel back and forth from New York because she had work there, and she left me, I don't know where my sister was, but she left me at my great grandma's house. And since my family's from Haiti, we sometimes my great grandma bring people in, you know, to visit like families and stuff, and like take the families in and help them to get their feet like in America and like learn, and then they move out and they do the same with other people from Haiti, which is really cool. And it's crazy because one day, I'm 5 years old. I don't really know better, but I took a shower that day, but I forgot to put on underwear because I didn't have any clean ones, and it just started from there. Like, she was just calling me like all these names and stuff just because I didn't wear underwear, and I was like 5, so I didn't really know. So ever since that day it started. And how did it affect me? It made me not want to be anything that she would project on me. So the abusive names that she was calling me made me not be them. But what I've learned is when you try not to be something, and if you don't try not to be it in the correct way, you're going to end up being that way anyway, you know what I mean? So like if she would say like, you suck at school, whatever, I will begin to suck at school, but that's because of her words are hitting me and it's subconsciously getting into me. So what you start to think, that's what you start to act like. So I guess like a way that I overcame that was blocking out the negativity and just following like the truth that God has already set before me, you know what I mean? Because people are going to drag you down and people are going to bring you down, but it's all about who you are created to be. We weren't created to be people who's like at school. We weren't created to be like, I don't know, people who destroy things, but God has blessed us with the gift of life, and, you know, to create things in a beautiful way. And I guess like there's different fields of music therapy, so you can also work with kids who have autism, but also kids who have depression, or kids who have like different disabilities, you know what I mean, like if they're physically hurt. So I guess like one reason why I gravitated towards music therapy the most is because I just want to help the hurt, like help them find, I can't give them the healing that they need, but I can direct them to a path where they can find healing. So that's one of the reasons why I do want to be a music therapist, is to help. And I can honestly say that my personality is, I'm an encourager and I'm a helper, and if I see someone sitting alone at lunch, I'm going to take the initiative to sit next to them just so they wouldn't feel alone, like just so they wouldn't feel what I felt when I was young. And I'm still young, which is like the craziest thing about it, because even though I'm young, I'm wise in a way, you know? So yeah.
You sound like a very wise person.
Thank you.
And so, did you experience depression when you were with your grandma? Did you know that what you felt was like not normal, or?
Okay, so when I was living with her, I didn't really know what depression was. We didn't learn about it in school or anything like that, but I know that I was angry. But at the time, you don't think, oh, I'm angry. You just act, and you don't really know. Because sometimes if you go to a therapist, they can just imagine or just tell you, hey, you're angry, you're acting out because of this. But in the moment, you don't think, oh, I'm fighting all the time because I'm getting abused at home. Like, that's not what your initial reaction is. I always thought that's how I am, that's how I grew up. This is because since I lived in Miami, Florida, kids were fighting all the time. Like, it was normal. Like, people were shooting after school. It was normal for me. So I just thought, like, this is my community, this is who I am. But I didn't know I'm depressed, or I didn't know I'm angry. I didn't know I'm trying to find an outlet for what's happening at home. I didn't know that's what it was. So the only time I realized it is when I was taken out of that situation. And I think back, oh wow, so I did all of this because it was a subconscious reaction to what was happening in the house.
And how old are you now, Elizabeth?
I'm 18.
18, okay. Your life is just, it's been a good struggle, right?
Yeah, it's been a good struggle.
Great.
Yeah, okay, so from the death of my mom, I've always been told, and I actually noticed that I've been trying to fill the void that hasn't been there, especially at a young age, you know. When you don't have your mom, okay, I have friends whose moms passed away like at this age, at 18, at 15, at 16, but for me it was 5, and it didn't seem like a difference to me because I just never grew up with her. Like, I never grew up with her, so it never seemed as if it was normal. And so I was growing up and I moved in Georgia and I was trying to find validation in people, I would just see like a mom figure in me, but not a good one, just like me being bossy or me trying to control things. But that was just me feeling the void of not having her, like not having that structural house, because our dad, our family didn't like him for some reason. I still don't know why to this day, but we didn't have a dad figure in our house either. So we had like the ultimate broken household. But if you think about it, there's always a story that's worse than yours. So I'm just blessed that I had the opportunity to live with my godmom and her take us in as her own kids. But at the same time, as you continue to like live on, you get to realize why things happen the way that they did. You know what I mean? And I know like sometimes people say, oh yeah, if it was meant to be, it was meant to be. And that's not the worst advice. That's the worst advice you can ever tell someone, because when they're going through hurt, you don't want to say, oh, it was meant to be. Or if someone's parents die, yeah, it was meant to be. Like, that's not the best advice you can give them. So for people who continue to persevere forward, you know, and use your past to push you forward. You know what I mean?
That's good. And so where do you fall in the line? Are you the youngest, the oldest, in between, or?
So I'm the middle child.
Middle, okay.
Out of everyone in the house, but it's weird because when we were with our mom and our dad, I was the middle child. But when we moved with our grandma, she also had kids of her own. So my sister was the youngest, obviously, now it's the next youngest. But when we moved in with our godmom, my brother was the oldest, but he moved out, like, he came later on, so he moved out right away, and then I began to take on the role of the oldest, and my sister became the middle child. So, like, all throughout life, it's been, like, constant changes, and I guess, like, what I'm learning right now is how to cope with change. Like, I remember 2 weeks ago in service, like, at my church service, in the youth service, they were praying, you know, singing, worshiping and stuff, and coming out of me was just kept saying, I'm afraid, and I wasn't doing it on purpose. It was just coming out, and like, I guess like I've been asking God to reveal to me something that's on my heart that I need to fix, and I guess it's my fear of like changing and moving. Because concerning college, my initial reaction was to stay here in Georgia and go to Agnes Scott in Decatur, and that was my initial reaction, just to stay in Georgia, because I was tired of moving. But I guess God had a different plan for me, and I ended up going to college in Ohio. And it's a weird story how I got the scholarship. So the scholarship that I got was something called Posse, and basically what it is that they don't randomly select, but it's random kids coming together, and it's in a process of 3 interviews. Your first interview is a group interview where there's hundreds of kids in a room, and they sit down, you do different activities, and they look at you based on your leadership skills. The second interview is called DAP 2. It's where there's a 2-on-1 interview where there's 2 people interviewing you, and there's just you answering the questions. And the third interview is 20 people in a room, and it's kind of like DAP 1, but it's more like confined and more like a higher bar. And out of the 20 people, only 10 people get picked to go to that certain college. So it's out of 1,600 people to 10 people for that specific college. You know what I mean? And that's crazy. And so I passed DAP 1, and I went to DAP 2. And I thought I passed DAP 2, but I got an email. And this was ironic because it was on a Friday night that I was going to one of my church retreats. So I got an email, and it was saying, I'm sorry to inform you that you didn't get the scholarship. And at first I was happy because I was like, yes, I'm staying in Georgia, I didn't get the scholarship. But then when I was thinking about it, I was like, how am I going to pay for college? Like, I'm happy, yes, but they're covering tuition for 4 years, and that's a big difference. And all I have to pay is $11,000, and you can apply for scholarships, but let's say you had to pay $48,000. That's a big difference from $11,000. But I was still happy that I didn't get it. I'm like, yes, I'm staying in Georgia, I'm going to be with my friends, like, no more changes. And at my church retreat, I know people were praying for each other, and then one of my leaders, her name is Emily Crawford, she's the best. She asked me, she said, so what is something that's been on your mind? What are you struggling with? I was like, college, like, just knowing where God wants me to go. She prayed for me. Cool, she prayed for me. And so later on that week, I want to say it was a Tuesday, so the Tuesday we got back, I got a call in my psychology class I didn't answer because I was in class. And my godmom texted me. She said, "Did you get that email?" And so I called them back, and then they were saying, "Hey, is this Elizabeth Testamark?" I was like, "Yeah, this is me." And it was like, "Congratulations, you got the scholarship." I was like, what? In my mind, I was like, I got the scholarship? What? Like, you got promoted to the next round. And then I'm not trying to be cocky or anything, but if you didn't get something at first and then you pray for it and then you got it, you're bound to get it, you know? And so I finally went to the third round of interviews, and I wasn't nervous, but I kind of was nervous because, like, when you tend to compare yourself to others, you pick out everything that's bad about you, and you're like, dang, she got a 4.0, but I got a 3.7, which is not that off, but still. And so I was comparing myself to everyone, and I was like, I'm not gonna get it. And then my godmom was like, well, you've come this far. Look at what just happened on Tuesday. And the interview was the next day, so, like, you're bound to get it. And so we did the interview. I was nervous. Everyone was actually pretty good. And they called me that same night and they said, "You got the scholarship." And I was like, what? OMG, like, just to have that relief off of your shoulders. Because, like, coming from a family that the majority of my family didn't go to college, and I can honestly say, from my knowledge, my brother, my cousin, and another cousin all went to college. So that's 3 of us out of everyone else, except for my godmom. I'm talking about my generation. So 3 people from my generation, and there's, like, a lot of us in my generation that went to college. And I'm just like, dang, I'm gonna be the 4th, and my sister's gonna be the 6th, and our cousins, like, I don't know. Just like they were talking about earlier, generational curses that you're breaking. Like, since our family's from Haiti, and we didn't really have anything, our eldest people are pushing us to do everything that they didn't do. And so we had a director's chat with the, well, let me explain. So the posse, basically we meet up every Wednesday in Atlanta, and they basically give us life lessons. And since we don't know anyone we're going to college with, it's also a thing to build relationships, to know who we're going to college with. And so we had a director's chat in last Wednesday, and we had a guest speaker, and he was saying, look around the room. We looked around the room, and it was so diverse: African American, Caucasians, Hispanics, Asian, every ethnicity you can think of in that room. And he was saying, if you think about it, your grandparents has fought for this, like, fought for the diversity in the room. And it was really cool. And they were saying, you're here because they prayed for you to be here. You're here because they marched for you to be here. And I'm just like, dang, like, sometimes we have opportunities in life and we don't even think how deep they are. We just go about it in life and we're just like, yeah, no, I got this opportunity, cool, I'm blessed. But at the same time, you don't think about, like, who put in the work for you to have this opportunity, like, who fought, or, like, who worked hard, like, hard, long nights in their jobs being a maid, or just cleaning people's houses, or washing cars, or babysitting and stuff, just so you can be here and have this opportunity and have it easy. Yeah.
That's so cool that you would think like that.
Yeah.
So what message do you have for children that, or young people, excuse me, for young people that are going through some type of household drama, you know, like it's either abusive, like what you experienced, or there's just some fussing going on, or their parents don't take up any time with them?
Yeah. So the biggest thing I can say is check yourself. Not in a bad way, but I would say check yourself is because when there's an issue, there's always 2 sides to an issue, and you have to seek to understand. Because I know my life isn't all that good now. We still have issues in the household, like every other household does. You know, parents and kids always argue all the time, and a parent can be right. That's why they're parents. That's why they're older than us. They have experiences, but at the same time, you don't understand what your parent is going through, why they project those feelings onto you. So I would just say, look at what you're doing wrong and try your best to humble yourself. Even though you're in the worst situation ever and it feels like you're getting hurt, like abused or just yelled at for no reason, your parents are going through things. And sometimes, like, they're still kids too. They don't know how to handle what they're going through. So just humble yourself and just be the best you can be in that situation. So, like, what I would have done differently if I was with my grandma and she was abusing me and all that stuff, I would have tried my best to avoid the abuse. And sometimes you can avoid it, but it will still happen, to you and stuff. But if you're in an abusive situation, I would say get help, but get help from someone you trust, not from someone that you don't really know that well. So get help from someone that you can trust and that you know that will actually benefit you and help you in a good way. You know what I mean? So I would say check yourself and humble yourself in the situation. And what I mean by that is, like, if I give you a scenario, if there's a daughter and a mom in a house and they're constantly arguing and the daughter knows she's right, and let's say she is right, but the mom is persistent just because she's a mom, moms are moms, I would say go to yourself, go to God and be like, God, look, I know I'm right, and not to be boastful or anything, but like, I know I'm right about this situation, but show me how you're viewing this situation and help me to view it the way that you are, so I can step back and humble myself and try to make the situation a little bit better for everyone else in the household. So that's advice that I would give.
Great answer. So how has it been as a life experience to have been brought up without your birth mother, or to only have had her for 5 years of your life?
So
do you remember her?
Yeah, I don't remember her.
Okay.
But okay, this is a couple stories that I do remember. So I remember when she had her stroke, we were all at my great grandma's house actually, and she was feeding me. And after she was done, or before she was done feeding me, she told me, your birthday? She told me my birthday. She told me my middle name. She said, your birthday is December 11, 1999. Don't forget. And I guess that's going to mean something special one day. She said, your middle name is Janelle, which means I don't know. Oh, Jehovah has been gracious. That's what my middle name means. Jehovah has been gracious. And so I don't know what significance those hold in my life, but yeah. And so after that, she got up and she immediately fell from, a stroke in her weak legs and stuff. And I didn't think about it when I was 5. I'm just 5. I'm just like, oh, mommy, she's hurt. Like, I didn't think anything. But they made all the kids go in the room. They called the ambulance. She left. And then I just remember later on that year, or a couple of days later, actually, we all went on a family reunion and she didn't come. And I don't know, it was just sad to me to not have my mom, but at the same time, I'm a kid, my mind wasn't really on it. I was just thinking about having fun, going to the pool, going to South Carolina, and all this stuff. But I remember at her funeral, I was crying because I'm 5 years old. That's when you start to understand the world. And I just saw her in the casket and I was crying, and one of my uncles said, what are you crying for? I said, I don't know. And I just stopped crying because as a child, you're just afraid, like you don't want anyone to, I don't know, you're just afraid. And so I guess like from that day on, me saying I don't know what I'm crying for, that actually built like a strong personality within me, because I was taught at a really young age not to cry for things, especially death, I still cry, but I just know how to handle it better than most kids my age. Yeah, so that's something that I learned from that, and that's how it affected me.
Okay. So as we close up, is there anything special, a special message that you would like to leave either the parents or the guardians over children, or young people in general?
Yeah. So for the parents and the guardians, I know when I was little, I used to always try to remember how I thought. So when I get older, I can try to understand how the little kids think, so I wouldn't be as aggressive towards them, because they have a different mindset. We have a different mindset than people who are 50, and people who are 7 have a different mindset than people who are 18. So I would just try to say, seek to understand from both perspectives. So if you're 18, seek to understand your parents, and parents seek to understand your children, because they aren't thinking the same way that you are. And if you seek to understand rather to be understood, then you will approach the situation differently, in a different way.
Well, thank you, Miss Elizabeth Testamark. You are so blessed, and we wish you all the joys and prosperity and abundance that the universe has in your future going forward in college, and all your dreams, may they come true.
Thank you.
Thank you.